live under the Mass Radio. I got a great man. He is to my right, could be to your left. Today's date is October 26th, 2024. Official, exclusive Skype interview for Under the Mass Radio. We're bringing in this man who's known all over. You see him. The last time I interviewed him, he had a little bit more black hair on his head, but he's all gray. What we call in the black culture, silver fox, if you will. Bula Channel and Dusty Rhodes. Bringing in a good buddy of ours. This man is a author. He's worked in films. He's a radio host, podcast host, good friends with Kevin Nash and all over. He is the owner and runner of Kayfabe Commentaries. You've seen his shoot interviews. You've seen his stuff running the territories, guest booker, so many things that he's done. We're bringing in right now the man himself. It only took about 3 school years to get part 2 because we're both busy as hell. Bringing in the man himself, also host of Kliq This with Kevin Nash, Sean Oliver. Welcome, brother.
Everyone needs to know that Evan is the most persistent person in the game, and I'm sitting here due to his persistence. And I've owed him this interview for a long time, and but here we are together. I right away get the compliment of the Silver Fox. I guess this puts me in the category, if we're going to stay in the community, if we're going to stay at the cookout, maybe Red Fox, perhaps, maybe. I'm not quite that old yet, but so I'll give myself, who could I, John Amos? No, John Amos he was older than me too. Give me somebody. Is Denzel Gray yet? Could I do the Denzel comparison?
Denzel could be gray, but his hair's always short. We had like little spigots of gray, so we'll give it to him.
All right.
So we'll give it to him. Who else? Rick Fox, I would say, from the Lakers. Black men, or just a man with nice gray hair.
Yeah, he played with the Celtics for a minute too, right? Number 44, I think.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Which no one knows that, but basketball fans such as ourselves, just like Johnny Unitas, that he ended his career as a Charger. Most people, I don't know if you do that or not.
No one should remember that.
Yeah, no one should remember that. Yes, I've been known. My wife will tell you. Persistence is one of my attributes, but I'm respectfully persistent. Like, you and I have been friends for years and talk and text and haven't met in person yet, but we will. Because like our good old buddy Kevin Nash had told you, and we talked off air, you gotta come here, brother, and go to Jimmy's. Jimmy's Seafood.
Jimmy's is a must. Jimmy's Seafood. So shout out to the people at Jimmy's. I know they're listeners of our show. So we'll get over there. I know they tried to get us up for a cup. They do live stuff there too. So I don't know. Eventually, I just want a damn crab cake. We'll work for crab cakes.
Yes. What are you sipping on?
Oh, this is the hard stuff. It's it's organic flavored water. Grapefruit. Yeah, it's far too. I have too many remaining obligations in the day. To open the gummy bottle yet.
Yeah, I feel you. Well, me for you.
See, I think in our lifetime, we're going to see, cats our age, we're going to see the booze get replaced by, by like THC beverages. Like we've got that, a Kliq This version of the Get Blitzed, on the soon to be on the market, and I think that's going to be soon replacing the alcohol. I think it's once people embrace THC to understand it has, I think, less detrimental effects. I'm not a doctor, I can't say that. I don't know if you take that to the bank, but
I feel you. I agree with that. You get older, can't drink the hard stuff too much or as much, but some people have been blessed where they still could to the day they die. Us and our ages, and I know you had me by a few years. As you get older, you tend to change more to wine, more, healthier, more the red wine or wine in general, or
right.
some would say tequila, which is a lot more healthy, excuse me, instead of the brown stuff.
Oh, I like a good scotch with my steak, though. I'll start a good steakhouse evening with an old fashioned. But
That
outside of that, trying to cut
so,
down.
so you're old fashioned over Manhattan.
Yeah, yeah.
I agree. I agree with you on that. I will agree. Now, what you should try at some point, and my show is like yours. We talk about everything. We just talk wrestling. We talk about everything here at Under the Mats Radio with Sean Oliver. And I guess your nickname for me now will be the persistent one. As you say.
Evan,
Uh,
Evan, Evan the persistent.
yes, the persistent. That's my nickname. Definitely so. There is a cocktail which I want you to try. It is called the Four Horsemen.
Is it? I mean, is it a reference to the biblical? Is it a reference to Ole Anderson? Does it
You
have
could,
the
you could.
semen of the four original horsemen in it? How did it get the name?
I'm going to see how I got the name. Let me see. How did it get the name? Because we do here under the Mat Radio. I'm gonna find out how they got the name, but I'm gonna tell you what's in it. It is the Four Horsemen: Jack, Jim, Jameson, and Johnny.
Oh
So you got,
Lord!
so you have Jack Daniels, which
All
we
right,
know, drinker taker,
Jim
Yoko,
Beam, probably
Fresh,
Jim Beam, right?
Jim
And
Beam,
then Jameson whiskey, and then what was the fourth?
Johnny Walker.
Johnny Walker. All right, black. I hope, not the red.
Uh,
We keep it
you
black
can,
here, Evan. We keep it black, as you
yeah,
know.
keep it black. Yeah, gotta keep it black.
Absolutely.
Um, you can do it with the red label, Johnny Walker, but when I had it with the green label.
Oh, okay, that's better. Yeah, that's all right.
Which, yeah, gotta have that shot. I haven't had one in 3 years. I've only had it once, so we hook up together, then I'll have it with you.
All right. What was in the little nip that you hit right there?
Oh, that was Jim.
That was Jim.
That was my reserve Jim for you.
Horseman number two.
Host for number two. So who you host for number two in the wrestling lingo? That would be Arn, correct?
Oh
Because Fred.
God, it was well, Ole on. Yeah, I guess. I don't know how you'd set the pecking order. I'll have to ask Rick.
Uh,
Rick might put himself at number one. I don't know.
yeah. Well, if you go old school horseman, Flair, Ole, Arn, Tully, then I think Ole would be two.
Yeah,
Arn would be three, Tully be four, and then a wild card. Shout out our good friend JJ Dillon. Um,
he lives
yeah,
down by you, doesn't he? Oh no, he's in Delaware.
he's in Delaware, which
Yeah,
45 minutes, not far at all. Good
right.
guy.
Yeah,
Um, great passenger. I've drove him a few times to the airport, to the Muffin Airport, done shows with him. One of the coolest guys. Never heard him yell. If he feels a way, he'll squint up his eyebrows. His eyeglass may come down a little, which I've only seen once because somebody was saying some stupid shit in the locker room. Um, but cool guy,
yeah.
nice. Um, good dude. Very few. Now I ask you this: with all your dealings with the boys, meaning boys, girls, who would you say was the calmest that you've interviewed or been around? Somebody that you've seen, let's say at least twice, where you
Well,
never.
JJ is very
Mhm.
calm. Don Morocco is so calm, you have to hold a mirror under his nose to make sure he's still breathing while you're doing the interview.
Oh,
Um, God, I see. There's a difference when you're sitting there working with somebody and you're producing the video, right? You want entertainment value. People talk about the Jamie Dundee interview I did and how it was bonkers that was and off the wall he wasn't. But I'm aware the entire time I'm sitting with someone for 2 hours, I'm cognizant of the fact that this will be great entertainment. That's my job. I don't have to be someone's friend afterwards.
yeah.
Um, I don't have to get along with them as long as this is going to be because we're sitting here producing a video, right? This is a social experiment. So as long as it's going to be entertaining, then I've done my job.
Yes.
So there is a line between just someone who's got a placid personality versus maybe someone who you'd like to extract a little more information from. You wish they were a little more forthcoming. And that's a different thing. But if we're just talking about calm Pacific personalities,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, you get no calmer than Don. You could probably wheel him out and make him a cigar store Indian on the street, and he barely moves. Valentine, who looks like a cigar store
Yes.
Indian. Can we
Yes.
say Indian? I don't know anymore. But
I think the Indian from Creep Show 2 actually moved more than Greg.
Greg's another guy who's very, very deliberate, as Gorilla always used to say on the commentary. Takes him a good 20 minutes just to warm up, Gene.
Yeah, that is Greg. And you know something about Greg too is you never would notice growing up watching him in the ring, just how he looks. He's actually pretty funny.
But in
He
a very
actually
dry,
in
very
a very
dry.
dry humor
Yeah.
way. And I've seen him smile twice because every time I see him, always and he picks me. You're not gonna get me to smile. I say, do you ever smile? No, but I cracked him one time. I did. So that's Greg. Greg is very dry.
My
I'll tell you
great
somebody.
Let me give you my soul, Greg Valentine. I've worked with him several times. The first production Kayfabe Commentaries ever had was our first product were audio commentary tracks for wrestling matches. This is before we got even into the filmed shoot interview genre. So we'd bring a guy in, we put the video on, we put the headset on, and we'd record alternate commentary tracks, almost like at the time, like DVDs would have alternate commentaries from the director. But so Greg wanted a bottle of Merlot, and I got him a bottle of Merlot. He put over my corkscrew like it was a very lovely corkscrew. It was from my home. I brought it, I had it there, and I hear him up. He's opening the bottle on the other side of the room, and to himself, in that very Greg Valentine way, he's going, "This is a nice corkscrew." And he's doing work in the bottle, and he keeps going. He's like, "This might be the nicest one I've ever seen." So that I knew my foray into this new industry that we were trying to trailblaze would be successful because Greg Valentine put over my corkscrew. I thought that was a great omen, a good way to get started in the business.
That's amazing. And you do a great Greg impression. You don't hear anybody give
Just fall
impressions.
asleep. Just start to fall asleep and talk, and that's your Greg. And you're good.
It sounds like one of my old cousins. Shout out to my cousin Herman. He did that. This talk and no matter how long he took a nap, he will always pick up where he left off in the conversation.
Because he was blunted beyond belief, right? I mean, he wasn't tired.
Yeah, and then come to find out it was a floor model TV, and it was always, the floor model TVs, the ones that had the drawers underneath, had like and kind of find out underneath that drawer, Colt 45, Thunderbird. That's why. So there you go.
Oh man, if you have a whole drawer of Billy D's favorite beverage, that is instant street cred right there.
Me being an asshole, I will say, speaking of Billy D, and shout out to my aunt Rose, who I just got finished checking on. Well, there's a famous troll story which I'll tell you off air. Um, my aunt loved Billy D. Williams. She had the big old school Colt 45 like pull out. This had to be like 70s, right? So me being an asshole that I got still am, because you and I are favorable assholes. you know, my aunt made me mad, so I took a Sharpie, and I do have an art degree. I'm an artist, legit. I actually drew Billy D. Williams on his mustache. Actually drew an extra layer, and I curved it around, and I drew like a little goatee.
She wasn't feeling you after that, I bet.
Nope. And I lied and said it was one of the neighborhood kids because my aunt did the daycare. Hey, get this. This is the asshole that I am. The person that I lied on, when their father came to pick him up, got a legit ass whooping with the belt, and I sat and watched, and I said nothing.
You said nothing. Right.
I just sat there and watched. I just corpsed and sat
Right.
there. I'm sorry.
The belt is pretty old school too, Evan. I got to tell
Yes,
you.
it is. But before the belt, I got the switch.
The
You know
Switch.
about?
I was gonna guess. I said, did you
Good.
get the Switch from out in the yard?
And what made it bad? My grandparents' house. If you go there now, they cut it down. We had this big ass tree right in the front yard, so we had to go out and pick our own switch. And if we waited too long, we would get my grandfather would pick two switches. My grandfather would go to the hedges to get the switch. My grandma would get the one from the tree, and you would get a double ass whooping.
Think of the level of torture that is. Go pick the weapon with which I'm going to
Pick
beat
the
the
gimmick.
nuts off of you right now.
Go
This
pick
would
the
not
gimmick.
fly today. Family services would be involved immediately. Clearly didn't work on you either, so maybe they're right today.
Yo, you look. Go pick. They should do that match. Have you done it? Go pick the gimmick. Then I'm gonna whip your ass with. And if you take too long,
Right.
maybe we need to hit up Jared. Maybe you hit up Jeff. Okay, but hit up Jeff or Corny. Who else is around the old school promoters? A good friend. Shout out to Kevin Sullivan, legit
Uh,
personal friend of mine who we would talk. You know Kevin.
yeah.
Kevin loved baseball. He loved
Yeah.
his Red
Yeah.
Sox. I love the Orioles and brother. The Sox. They're doing good. One of the best teams
I've
of
said
all
it on
time.
the air before. My favorite people to work with in the business were, well, first and foremost, the ones that made us the most money, uh, on
And who
the
would
show,
have who would have
on the show we produced, obviously, whatever. And but then secondarily, and a selfish standpoint, the people I enjoyed most off camera, that we didn't talk about the business. We didn't talk about wrestling. We talked, like with Sullivan. He's one of the guys I always mentioned. Nash also. Um, now I have more Nash than I can deal with, but back in the day, it was, we would get together,
you need a rehab.
before a show, after a show, go out for a bite, and Sullivan was the same way. Like, we would talk, football, real estate, and when he was down in Florida, and when he was in the Keys. Um, yeah, there's a handful of people that I just enjoyed my time with beyond wrestling, and it was, probably the more interesting stuff we talked about was stuff outside the business.
And that's something that that I've learned and we've learned that us being radio hosts and working with the boys in different areas and interviewing them and working with them is that's the thing that and fans listening to this and saying this and know is getting to know the boys outside of the business. The best conversations I talk to people is you. We never talk about wrestling. It's like, oh, remember WrestleMania, Slamboree? I don't care about that shit. Talking about baseball, this, oh man, did you read this book here? Man, you hearing the news, man. You be at the bar, TV is on, like, oh man, you see that big ass plane? And you just talked about life or just being dads or husbands or just random shit about shoes and clothes. That's the conversations that they love to do and that's memorable. And shout out to Sully. I got the me, you and I had text when I got word about Sully and his update, and like when he passed, I cried. I legit cried. Same thing with Scott Hall. I talked to Scott a couple times. This one is talking about not about wrestling, just to know that, and this is good. And Kevin never said hello, brother. He leave a voice on brother.
Right.
He would not. He never said. He would say your name here, but it is brother. And that's
I
how
didn't even know he was I didn't know it was as bad as it was.
yeah.
I'd heard about the accident, and then, but the next thing I heard, he was out, he was home, and then I got that news, and I was a little shocked. Kev knew, uh, a little more than I did, but the last report I'd gotten was that he was out of the hospital and he was okay, but.
Yeah,
mm,
that's yeah, and that's when I think I text you, and I was like,
You
nah,
did,
bro.
yeah, yeah. You did
I was
text me.
like, yeah, I got a call from I'll tell you off air, but one of the legends, one of the boys that legit was like, nah, bro, it's bad. Like he's not home. I just left him in ICU, and that's when I text you, and I was like, yeah, brother, it just this is my experiences personally with dealing with people that had that in general. But anyway, not to be morbid, but we love Kevin Sullivan. We love you, brother. Miss you, man. Definitely great people to work with.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier who I've met Nash and spoke with him. Good time, good dude. You said you dealt with as much Nash as you can. With that being said, you are the host or showrunner of Kliq This podcast. People that may not know, let them know how it started. How did you persuade Kevin to want to do the show? And I know this just so the fans can know because I know how you work and stuff. Was it a challenge for you to be a step above and different from all the other boy shows, which you know what I mean, corny? And real quick, I do want to say, not sure if you know, we are sending our prayers to good old Dutch Mantel. I know he's recovering, dealing with pneumonia and some other health battles. So we do pray for you, brother. He should be home soon in the next day or so. I'm not sure if you knew Sean, but definitely shout out to Dutch. But Dutch show, and I forgot the guy name that works with him.
I think it's James or something
James,
like.
yes. Shout out to James, good dude too, James. But yeah, let us know how did Kliq This start? How did you get Kev to be on,
Well,
and any challenges you dealt with it?
Kev got me.
Oh,
We God, I opened a notepad recently. For all my projects, I have uh, large legal pads color coded to a project, right? So that I can very quickly find, what I got. Like if the Kliq This pad is blue, and then this book I'm working on, that pad, those pads are yellow, and these pads, just so that as they float around my world, I can snag the right one at the right time. Anyway, so I opened an old legal pad recently, and I realized that I first began to write show ideas for this in 2019, I
hmm,
guess. So this was years in the making. It might have been 2018. No, I think it was January 2019. I was on a plane. I remember when I was doing it. I was on a plane, and I took out the pad, and Kevin and I were talking at the time about a show. So Kevin's son Tristan was a big early adopter of the podcast movement and used to listen to them all the time. And when wrestlers started doing them, he would tell his father, he's like, you should do this, man, because you could talk about so much more than these other people. And Kev was like, I think he told Tristan, he said, well, there's only one guy that I would do this with. Let me reach out to him. So he would hit me up randomly on the text, like, hey, want to talk to you about a podcast, call me tomorrow. And we would talk, we'd kick things around, and then I'd, go to the paper stage, reach back out to him, and he's doing a movie for 6 months in fucking Botswana or wherever he is. And so I'm like, all right, well, we'll wait till we come back. So it was like this back and forth. I get a random 2 a.m. text tomorrow, me and you podcast, call me, like, and it would resurface again for a minute, and we'd talk, and then finally um it got to the point where he was like, it's now or never. He said, I'm just gonna have to do this. And I said, all right, let's go. And the only, as far as differentiating ourselves from other shows, anything I do, I the primary motivation, or the primary directive that I give myself is, it's got to be different than everything else. Even if it's wrong, I'd rather be different and wrong than correct and common, because then you're just going to consolidate when the market does, which is what's happening now. I was just talking to Kevin. We recorded 2 nights ago, and I had 7 live reads, and I'm watching the ad schedule fill up, and I'm like, dude, I said, I said, I gotta. ask around about other shows, I think it's finally starting to happen that everybody else's show sounds the same. And there's going to be those few that don't sound like those. And that's where the advertisers will go. That's where listeners will go. Because, yeah, I mean, if you're looking for wrestling news or wrestling personalities or people telling stories about, it's Starrcade 83, there's a lot of places you can go for that now.
Exactly. It's the same shit.
Yeah. So
Same shit. Yeah.
I knew I wanted to do it differently because anything I do is going to be different. Kevin's of a very similar mindset artistically. And I said to him, I said, did you have kind of an overall theme? And he said one sentence. And I think we have been true to it to this point. And I think it's why we have such a loyal following. He said, two guys at the bar.
I was gonna say that.
That was one sentence.
I was gonna
He
say that.
said, if two guys at the bar are having a good time, everybody wants to have a drink with them. So we don't really restrict ourselves. We do. I mean, there's a format. I write it out, and there's bullet point stuff we want to get to if we can. But then we go like this in the beginning. We go where we have to go, and then it becomes, can you two be interesting enough to go anywhere, and retain listenership. And we have a very dedicated audience. People say all
Yeah.
the time, it's not like anything else. Even when I hear wrestlers talk on podcasts about us, they're like, yeah, on Nash's podcast, they're like, but that's different. They don't go into it, but they go, that's different, because it is. And there was such a personal touch in it, tragically so. But when Tristan passed and
Yeah.
Kevin wanted to go through this on the air with me and with the listeners, and what he said to me as I prepared that first day that we got the news to get a best of on the air that week, and then try to see if I had to line someone up while Kevin grieved, and just like
Mm-hmm.
the Carson show gets the
You're right.
Joan Rivers replacement.
Reverend, I was gonna say up.
He said to me, he texts me, he goes, I didn't get a link for tonight's show. I said, Kevin, your son passed today. You're not doing a show today. I won't let you. And he said, I want to tell the world I
Yeah.
lost my son, not somebody else. And that set a tone for us, for the network, for our crew,
Mm-hmm.
that this was going to be about real life. Because you know what? Those two guys at the bar, sometimes they're talking sports, sometimes they're talking a chick's ass, and sometimes one of them puts his head down and says, I miss my son.
Yeah. You
And
talking?
that's what two guys at the bar has to be, that kind of honesty. So Kevin let those people in, and I think that fostered a connection with our listenership and viewership.
Yeah. And shout out to Kev and just the courage to do that. And sometimes you got to keep going, and it's easier for some people doing the loss of doing it. Because I'm
Right.
sure T will, T will want that, as he said, and that's therapeutic for him.
Right.
And to keep, and everyone grieve differently. Some people now need to take off, and there's nothing wrong with that. And as you said at the bar, as you and I know, and it's a preference. It's a difference of 2 men at the bar, which you and Nash do, than 2 men at a barbershop. You get what I mean? It's the two totally different things. Not sure if you looked at it like that. So when Kevin talk, it's 2 men at the bar, as you know. You're talking, hey, this is a nice TV, man. Damn, that girl got some nice titties, man. Her ass is nice. Man, that girl came in here look kind of, man, that dude came in there looking kind of weird. Wonder what's wrong with him. Hey, man, you good? You want a drink? Man, fuck the Dodgers, man. Fuck the Yankees, the Orioles. Man, I miss my son, man. I'm going through it. My wife getting on my nerves. My husband. That's exactly what y'all do. And the
Yeah.
fact
Yeah.
that Kevin did that through his son passing is encouragement for him. It's therapeutic for him as well. It also shows the faith he has in you. And with your friendship, say, hey, I trust you to where you have to give me this platform at my most vulnerable point. And that's a big thing. And I commend Kevin for that. and you guys talk at the bar. And Kevin, in the format, show starts, love the opening, the music. So you gonna get a little bit of wrestling. Kevin is probably the master of analogies.
That's true. I
Sometimes,
think we're gonna do an episode. I think where we string together. I
uh,
want to do the one where he sings. I want to string together 20 minutes of
yes,
him singing. He did Luther Vandross this week. I think I shared a clip today on my Instagram about him doing a little Luther. Um, but yes, and then we can do the great Nash analogies. So that could be a
there
separate.
should be one. Yep, there should be a whole episode because that's him. He's great at analogies. Some of them you may not get. I had to Google a few, but okay, now it makes sense. But is this what it is? You have an A to Z. We'll get through all the other letters. How we get there, we don't know. We're just gonna get there. Could let's make it like going on. It's like going on a road trip. All right, we're going from here to here. I don't know where we're gonna stop. Maybe stop here, get some gas, get some food, take a drink, go here, sightsee. We still gonna meet the end game. But how we get there, I don't know. May not even take the same road. Maybe take an off road or a scenic route. That's what you guys do, and I definitely love it because it's different and
It's a
definitely different.
hard thing. It's a hard thing doing these shows. You know firsthand. I mean, people. I think people take for granted that seeing somebody talk for a few hours from the pre-show to the wrap. It's usually about 3 hours that we're on. Not all that gets released, obviously, but I'm talking for 3 hours, and then it's in the beginning. It's the crews in there, Dom and Steve and Wes, and we have the live audience for our Patreon folks, and they'll pop up with questions. But then eventually somebody goes, "Let's do a show." Either me or Nash. After chopping it up for 45 minutes, it's 7:45 now. I got one eye on the clock. I'm getting up at 5:30 the next morning. So, and eventually someone goes, "All right, let's do a show." And then all the windows peter out. Everyone goes on mute, and then it narrows to just the two windows.
Hmm.
And there's that moment where you go, "Okay, it's just two people dancing now for 2.5 hours." And it goes quiet, the music starts, and that hardest moment is right then, is coming out of the intro for me. So I try never to look, I try never to think, and I try to just kind of go blank at that moment, and then wherever I pick my head up at when I hear those last bars, um and kind of like you just walked into the bar and sat down, and you're in the middle of a conversation almost, right? I guess that's I'm realizing now maybe a little bit of the theory there. So it's hard to do that, and then there's all the content stuff you have to worry about, and we have a great crew. Fortunately, they're extremely competent at their jobs, chopping stuff up for social media, and doing the audio edit and the mix. And Steve runs the YouTube channel, and so they're all great. They don't need any real instruction from me. They all know, and, but the doing it and the making sure there's content. The hardest thing before I leave the family to come do the show, there's that, like, oh, okay, I have to go be interesting. And I don't always want to be interesting. I don't always want to be interesting for 3 hours straight. And but it's product. You can't expect people to listen to bullshit. Someone's giving you hours of their life. You've got to treat that with such respect. But just from a personal standpoint, it's not always easy. It's not ditch digging. They always say that, but I don't know. I never dug a ditch. Maybe it's the same as
Yeah,
digging a ditch. I have no idea. It's not ditch digging, but it's not easy. It's a different kind of hard. It's like writing. People don't understand how hard it is to write, where
sure.
there's nothing external. It's completely an internal process. If something's not working, it's something in you that's fucked up that you got to
Mm.
try and figure out. You're not always inspired. You wait for the muse to dance into the room and touch you with fairy dust, but getting that muse to enter, it takes a lot of work and a lot of concentration and a lot of focus. And uh, it's hard, and it's hard in another way, and people don't understand that. People, if you're not, an iron worker, I think people don't understand. You say, I've been working hard today. You've been sitting down. I've been sitting down trying to find out how to round this chapter out. And I'm ready to put my head through a window because the words aren't coming. So it's a different kind of frustration.
It's a different type. And everything, and it's amazing to, I appreciate you, Sean, for saying it and sharing the hardest part for you as everything you do, being a host and showrunner and everything, that your hardest part is walking in the start, as
Yeah.
opposed to some people it's the process. For some
No,
people it's
that's the easiest.
yeah.
That's when you fly. That's um it doesn't matter what you are, a dancer or maybe you're a musician or something. And when you're in it, something happens and it's
Yep.
you lift off, you float. I think ballon is the word in French. It means to float. And when you watch a dancer um doing it, they're somewhere else. There's nothing cerebral about it, there's nothing mental about it. A singer or a musician, and even something like this, when you sit down and you can get lost in the conversation and you're laughing and you're playing off each other and there's good interplay. um that's doing it. That's you're in. It's like a great fuck. Maybe you can't explain why she was great, but um it's a place
You're
you
right.
want
You're
to
right.
be. It's a
You
place
know
you
what?
want to be very often.
You know what? You gave a great analogy for your show. It's like, look, I meet you. We're gonna fuck. What's the end game? We both come. How we get there, I don't know. Suck a titty, look at ass, something.
That's it.
Fight the neck, and that's like
I'll
what you
get you
hey,
there. I'll
you just
get you
told
there, and
Kevin.
you're gonna get me
Yeah,
there.
hey, look, hey, suck a titty, suck a neck, something. Turn over, slap my ass,
Bro,
pull a ear.
we just got so hood. We were talking Sullivan. We covered Jameson.
That's
We're
how we
covering
think.
licking titty. We're doing the shit. Fuck that. I'm at the barbecue.
Look, you said you was invited to the cookout, so we're from the bar.
Cookout. I said barbecue. That's fucking.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
gotta turn in my
Look,
white man card on that. Fuck.
look,
It's
look, look. I'll say, brother. I love you, brother. You one of my white brothers. Y'all say barbecue. You don't say this shit here. Yo, we going to the cookout. It's like, where you at? Going to the cookout. Or just be like, I don't know. So and so just cook. Or never heard, yo, they on the grill. I don't know. What y'all bringing? Bring drinks. And by the way, in black culture, when we say, Sean, if you come to my house, you come here, I say, Sean, bring drinks. That means minimum for all sizes. You better bring a fifth. You better not come in there with no pint and no half a pint. You don't know liquor sizes? You can look it up. I do. I used to work in the industry. Don't come in there with no nip little mini. What I did earlier. That's how it is. Hey, bring a drink. Now, yeah, bring wine. Bottle of wine or something. That's cool. But ain't nobody drinking no wine and no cookout. I mean, you
mm-hmm.
met the older aunt, the older cousin. Y'all was
Yeah.
going.
No. Unc need the fifth.
Yeah, oh yeah, you need the fifth, right? Y'all was gonna have the one classy aunt or cousin had a wine glass. I'm saying everybody else look bringing the Jack, bringing the
No.
Jim.
No,
You
Unc got
bringing
it. You got it. By the end of the night, you'll be Unc. Pull up your motherfucking pants, man. Put the
there you
damn
go,
stuff on. Look at you. You got the fucking stomach out and shit.
there you go.
Take him
So
home.
we
Are we
gave
canceled yet for my impression? Are we off? Did
no
you get
you
pulled off
off.
your network for the?
You get you did the hand movements. Then next thing you do, you just start clapping like yo. You gotta start doing like this, or you start rubbing your hands, fly hands.
Oh, I gotta get my
Yeah,
weave bothering
yeah.
me and stuff. Mm.
Sean, you got some black in you, brother.
Bro, remember back in the day when you could have fucking fun with your friends who were of mixed everything and
Yeah.
talk like this and laugh, and no one at the table goes, cancel culture was not a thing, and
So,
it was like you could just enjoy your differences and have a laugh, and it made you closer and more accepting of everything because you realize we're all in the fucking same shit
man,
together.
it's how it is, man. Look how fans look how You hear me and Sean talk, and this is the third time me and Sean had no, fourth time me and Sean had spoke legitimately. Twice on air, twice off air. We normally text 99.999 times, just like it is chance of you getting pregnant using a condom. That's how often we talk on the phone. But how much we talking now? That's just us. We don't talk counterculture. Now, the story of the Skype story that you and I know have before air, which we won't repeat out of respect, that lets you know what we said would definitely be canceled. You know, we said that shit publicly. And I was like, hey, is this you? He was like, yeah.
I sent the message.
I said, wait, is this you? Yeah. And that's how
Sometimes I type before I think. I don't.
it is.
My editor, I should get the book editor to check all my texts before they go out. Maybe.
And you know, and back to you saying about your thing is the process of going in, like walking in the ring, going through the curtain, walking on set, as we both know. That's the tough part for you. You don't really understand that. For us, and what you do and what I do, it's a lot with pre-production. You know, it's the process of yeah, we're on air for 2 hours, 3 hours, but the pre-production was 6, 7. Watch this, write that, study that, write down this. You got to write down the format. This is what I want. Write down the segments. Da 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 da. Do you guys still go by live working with Nash? Is you and I doing? I got a format sheet here. I ain't looking at that shit. I got bullet points, but that's the pre-production. Then you do the show, and then you got post, which is the edits and this and the title cards and this and popping that, and dealing with YouTube and dealing with that and all that other stuff and the analytics and this and you can't say this now, you can't say that, you gotta bleep this out. This other editor of mine told me something that you can't say on YouTube. I was like, oh yeah, we gotta change it, man. You just gotta say not perish. What's the word you gotta say?
For what?
Uh, you can't say suicide on YouTube now. You gotta say
Certain words. Where they where you can't do certain words. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a mystery to me. I'll get I find it here and there something pops up as objectionable, and I'm like, really? Like, really?
It is what it is. You didn't know how it was back in the day with the cartoons. Like we can't say we're gonna kill you. That's how it was, nigga. You about to die. No, you're gonna perish. You're gonna vanish. What? Who talks like
Yeah,
this? Vanish? Make you disappear? It's like, come on.
yeah.
Yeah, so suicide is one of them now, where you can't say rape. You gotta I'm just learning this. You saw it just like that. Hey, not in a vulgar way, but hey, so and so got raped, or hey, I can't say that now. You gotta say
Can
uh
you say I'm being raped by YouTube with this
you
with
know what? We
less?
should try that. Yeah. No Vaseline up the ass.
Oh,
Booty hole. I'm getting diddied. I'm getting Fleece Johnson. I'm getting booty warded by YouTube. See what they say. Um. So with you can answer this far as your career with Kayfabe Commentaries and with Kliq This. What would you say were for both your hardest episode to do in any context, and what would be your favorite?
well, in with our show now with Click This, that's we just did episode 121. So
Congratulations.
it's been 121 straight weeks of the show. It's over 2 years, heading toward 2.5. The hardest stuff was when Tristan passed. Um, that first episode, which we shot on a Saturday, he passed on a Wednesday.
Mhm.
That one was hard because I didn't know really what I was walking into. Um, I was taking Kevin's lead, obviously, wherever that went, but also subsequent weeks. Like, God, how quickly, when's the first time you smile? When's the first time you laugh after something like that? If you could even imagine. So the tone of subsequent weeks was unpredictable, but because it's wherever it goes type setup, or lack thereof, there were moments where we would laugh. You forget. for a minute where you're at, and something comes up and someone says something, and then 2 minutes later we're on it again, and it's and we go to a different place. So that was a real roller coaster, those first few shows after Tristan left us. On the filmed side, back in the day, in the Kayfabe Commentaries side, any hard show, Evan, once again, I'll go back to what I said before. If there's entertainment value, I don't care that you're off the rails right now. Like Jamie Dundee bouncing off the walls. I knew the fans were going to enjoy it. So I'm fine with that. The hardest shows are when I cannot get someone to open up. And it didn't happen often. If I have a magic power, a superpower at all, it is the ability to sit down with someone and make them comfortable enough where they feel they're talking to someone that they've been talking to for 5 years, even if we've just met. It helps if I have a little bit of history with the person, even if we could just go to dinner. I liked and would, as often as I could, go to dinner with the person who we were about to interview before we filmed back in the Kayfabe Commentaries shows. Schedule-wise, it didn't always work that way. If the person had a bunch of obligations and they could only drop in for a few hours, we'd have to start rolling. So then it was like on the set, it would have to happen with cameras and lights on, to start to ingratiate yourself to somebody and get them to trust you. But if we could sit down and break bread with the whole crew and me, and they just felt like family. Hopefully it seemed to work. So, but there were times where that was harder for people. And if you watch the episode, maybe they kind of start like this, but by hour one, they're leaning in and they're talking to me, and it's a conversation again. And it's not just the tennis match of information, the ping pong game of verbiage. It becomes a real discussion with somebody. So sometimes that was harder. So any show where I could not be in sync with the person. China did a show with us, and she was admittedly, we started at like midnight, and she'd been on the tarmac for like 2 hours with a delayed flight from Los Angeles, which is a 6-hour flight to start with. So that was a show that that I didn't enjoy, and I don't think any of the viewers enjoyed. And the ones I enjoy were anybody that first made good money for us, and then secondly, anyone that that I had that rapport with. Anytime Cornette was going to be on, I knew we were going to have a great time. Anytime Nash was on, I knew it was going to be great discussion. Sullivan, X-Pac, people that I knew would sit down and be so open. And I've had talent before they sat down lean over and just out of earshot of the crew and just say, walk me through this one, like not really sure, particularly like when we did a timeline where we had to just focus on like 1 year, or a guest booker where someone had to do intricate booking exercises for the camera, and they would just lean over and they trusted me enough to say, listen, you're gonna have to walk me through this one. And I'd say, okay, and get on my back. I'll hand it to you when I know you're gonna shine, because I know enough about the talent that I was working with to know the moments that they would be at their best.
That's amazing. Thank you for this great stuff. And what you're saying makes sense. Of course, makes you the most money, but just the difficult ones, like you said, if you're not getting anything from them, you're sitting there trying to pull and pry stuff. We do like the little tricks and I need something.
Yeah.
Who would you say that you thought was going to be real tight-lipped, but surprisingly became very open?
That's a good one. I always would ask beforehand if I could, if I was booking that person through an agent that that I could talk to. I'd say, how are they? Are they okay for a timeline? Will they remember? And I've had booking agents say, not remembering much these days. And then I pass on someone for that reason. I could never say that. Like when someone would ask us, like, hey, how come so-and-so didn't cover 1980, whatever, 5 in timeline? And I'm not going to say, well, I had someone else. in mind. But when I asked their people, they were like, no, the memory's not there anymore. Yeah, I can't sit down with them and do 2 hours, 3 hours. Sometimes it shows like with Corny with 3.5 hours on camera.
Yeah.
So let alone the stuff off camera. So I can't do that, and I can't expect somebody to pay money to see that, you know.
Yeah.
So um so as far as openness, there were things I didn't expect, like Piper famously, um not without going into details, alluded to some difficult times when he was a young upstart in the business, a
I
young
know exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
teenager with Pat Patterson. And he didn't go into detail, but he certainly opened a door there. I wasn't going to force him to walk through it at gunpoint, but he'd certainly said enough for me to realize, okay, there's something there. So that was very unexpected and got a lot of play in the aftermarket. That was one of the more unexpected moments. When Cornette, who famously was, apart from New Jack and Mustafa, after their time in, they had falling
Mm.
out and they weren't on speaking terms for sure after their time in Smoky Mountain. And I'm doing a guest booker with Corny at night. We had 3 shows that day. We started with Jack at around noon. It was out in Pennsylvania. So we shot Jack's You Shoot and then set him free. Then we did a show with Missy Hyatt that I'd like to forget, called Missy Hyatt's Pajama Party. Um, and then at night we had guest booker with Jim Cornette. Talk about going around the horn and
Yeah.
covering all aspects of wrestling. So we're sitting there shooting, and there's a knock on the door, and one of the crew opens the door, and Jack walks in, and he's singing, "Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends?" And he comes up to Jim and he hugs him, and they have this impromptu meeting after having so much heat with each other. And our one rule was camera rolls all the time. We get everything, no matter what's happening, cameras on. So we had that moment, and we cut it into the end credits of Jack's You Shoot. Yeah, I think it was New Jack's You Shoot. We took it out of the guest booker and put it there because it was that moment. So they had that discussion after many years, and Anthony zoomed out to be able to get the guys talking, and Jim was still mic'd. So that was unexpected. Um, yeah, there's little nuggets like that through the years.
Hmm. Now, far as Kayfabe Commentaries, and I've had my staff just was texting me, and fans was wondering, is it coming back? Are we gonna get the U shoots again? Guest booker. A lot of people love the timelines. I know I did. I think I've seen most of them because I had a buddy of mine that used to, back in the day, used to buy all your stuff, and the other person that was doing similar work that still does, we know who that is. We're not mentioning his name. Nothing against him, but no need to mention his name. But y'all two was like Pepsi and Coke, and that buddy of mine that was like obsessed and bought your stuff and his stuff. Watch this. Oh, you know him. Keep talking to him. Like, not texting him for you. Like, the hell? You a fan? Like, I'm not asking all these dumbass questions. So, um,
I'll hit him up on his birthday. On his birthday, let me know when it is.
I got you. I'll let you know. I got you. Yeah, but is it coming back? The timelines, the guest bookers, um, the territories. I used to love that one. Any of that coming back, or is that
The
a
thing
chapter in
about
your
it,
life that you done?
Evan, is cue the music video. Play killed the radio star.
Yes,
It
yes.
became a streaming industry, which is fine. I mean, the fact that our content was streaming, but what started to happen was it got so democratized that everybody
Hmm.
started getting 30 minutes of a wrestler's time and putting it up on YouTube. So it became, I mean, the quality was no comparison to what we were doing from a production standpoint at that time. Um, but it became a sea of a sea of information, and the same story was being told. Now, we added formatting to our show, so it was more than just the interview with the talent. It was within the context of, in a U shoot, of course, it was the fans asking the questions. In a timeline, it was just laser focused on 1 year. But what would happen was I'd have someone booked to come in and do an episode of whatever, and we're paying them whatever we were paying them. And then, 2 days before our shoot, I'd see they're on some podcast talking for an hour and a half for free about everything I'm about to film for not free, with an entire crew and a production and a location rented and payment to the talent, which they so richly deserved. So it became a model that was unsustainable. I wasn't going to do it for a hobby. The 12 cents that you'd get off YouTube wasn't enough to have a sustainable business. So, and it would still have to look professional and be on a set and lighting and mics and sound. And it just became to a point where people were accepting, viewers were accepting of a subpar product, and it was being done for free.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was thinking is, like you said, when you started, it was the two initials, his show, you, high spots.
That was about it.
That
When we
was it.
started. Well, Ring of Honor
Yeah.
did a few
Ring of Honor.
with Gabe as the host. So
that was it.
That was about it.
That was it. I'm trying to think. Was it that, and then title match kind of came through with their stuff kind of later. I'm not sure if you know who they are. Title match
People would
wrestling.
sporadically drop stuff. It was like
Sporadically,
Wrestling Universe was a store in New York, I think. And when they would have a talent come in to do a signing for them, they'd film an interview. But it was like, a couple of times a year. We had a very regular production schedule. I mean, in our meetings, I could show you my presentations that I would do quarterly meetings. I'd have the grid up and we'd move stuff around to say, no, we should finish this quarter with this. At our height of production, we were doing 18 shows a year. Now that's booked, written, shot, edited, marketed, trailers cut, uploaded, DVDs pressed. This was the DVD time of life, remember? And 18 comes to one about every 3 weeks. That's a lot. That was a lot. And so I don't know who was as prolific as we were at our height.
Nah. Because from what I was told by fans and those in the business, yours was more quality. The two initials was like snuff porn.
People watched that too, though. There's got to be something for everyone.
Yeah, I said it got to be something for everybody. But
the fatty videos, when you go to the video store and walk through the curtain in the back room, and you're like, who's watching this fatty video right here?
Oh, wait a minute.
Sure, someone rented it.
Yeah, and this to show the quality and how you stood out. And nothing against him, at all. We don't have any bad blood with him. Just how it is just the difference in quality and the different formatting in which you had to do to have yourself stand apart. I remember them DVD days. I remember going on the websites, had this and the whole long Rolodex back in the day. They don't have Rolodexes, but the old school internet had to keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. It wasn't just click on the hyperlink and everything, bam, in your face. It was just one long ass list with little hyperlinks of this long list of what it is and the little small JPEG picture, the DVD of the person's face.
Yeah.
That's how it was back then. Now, and as I said before, with our background in radio, being trained in radio, broadcasting before podcasting even started, same thing. It was a difference. Started, it just was it was us. It was that. Wasn't too much radio going on with wrestling, and then you start branching out. The next thing you know, podcasting took over. Now everybody can talk, and any broadcaster can be a podcaster, but every podcaster can't be a broadcaster. That's what I was told professionally. At broadcasting school when I sat down and talked with them. and you understand it. And I have to tell people all the time the differences of being a radio host, doing broadcasting. Like, you know how it is. We got to write formats, write segments, meeting with the staff, and post production and editing, and even pre production. Going over this is what we're going to talk about. Center for live shows, dealing with fans, calling in, asking questions, how to interview. We're going to go through this, dealing with agents, dealing with PR, dealing with publicists. You know how that is. All this stuff, dealing with promoters, all this stuff we deal with, people don't see. That's what we do.
There's
Podcast
a
is
whole gradient, though, Evan. There's a
yeah,
whole gradient of professionalism. You're holding yourself to a standard. We held
exactly
ourselves to a standard. But in the DIY world right now, you could go
yeah,
drop something on Spotify. You could go record a
easy.
song and drop it on Spotify. But but what starts to happen is now you've got, it was almost like when the independent film movement started. There was some real gems and diamonds in the rough, people that would not have risen in the studio system, who now we could see their content. But also every douchebag with a camera was running around telling what they thought was their important personal story, but was just them jacking off on film. Like, and you've got that now. Look at the podcast world. You've got some highly produced professional stuff that's broadcast quality, and you got a couple of guys jerking each other off that are happy if 4 people watch it. So it makes it harder for the viewer and the spectator to find that stuff of quality, because there is such a crowded landscape of stuff of medium and subpar quality. So the best thing about right now in media is you don't have to abide by the gatekeepers. You can form your own company, make a little investment, and put together a product that you think is special because you've got the vision that they wouldn't have given you a chance on. But the flip side of that is, because everyone thinks they have the vision, you're going to have to sift through a lot of
Now,
bullshit programming.
now, do you get a lot of people, and I get this a lot, where they come to you, not just people, but the boys, and I've had this too, and it makes you really think about, and I want fans for you to realize like how great Sean is, and I learned from you too, Sean, as I told you when I started 15 years ago, and I've learned from you still to this day. I watch your stuff and learn stuff. Is how good you are at what you do and how it looks easy. And that's the reason why I went through the details of what you have to do, and I let people know what I have to do. Where this isn't what you see. How much you have to put in before the cameras roll, before you go through the green mile, if you will, for you walking
Mm.
through the door. When the music is playing, here's the last bars. The process beforehand, and then even after. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
do you get people come to you, the boys or fans, like, hey Sean, man, I want to start my show. But always like, hey man, I want to start my show. Can you help me out? What's your comeback for that? And what is your honest thoughts? Are you like, oh, gosh, here we go, another damn show?
No, I
Or
have a pretty standard response. I do, if someone's serious about it, I do tell them it's a crowded market. So,
mhm.
um, so do something interesting. And what I say is make sure you have something to say. Beyond that, if they want to have specific conversation about production, I could certainly talk to them about that. I have people text me, and it was saying like, oh, what software do you guys use? What mic? Just the other day, someone hit me up in the business that was asking me about mics and headphones. Those are easy questions to answer. I could talk to you about microphones and headphones. The harder thing is, what the hell
Yes.
are you putting into that microphone that you
Right.
want to turn into money or whatever you want it to turn into? That I don't have an answer for, because everybody cooks in their own kitchen, and everybody's got different spices. And just make sure yours is authentic to your kitchen. What do you want to serve? What do you want the experience to be like? If you want to do it as a form of therapy, then just go ahead. If you want to do it as a business, then make sure your kitchen isn't too similar to the kitchen next door to you, because you're going to have they have a head start on you already, and you're going to have 2 products that are same, or 100 products that are same. So
That's
yeah,
true.
just make sure you've got something to cook.
Right. And I love that analogy. I didn't even think of it like that. If I do use it, I'll give you credit. Sean Oliver's viewpoint. Sean Oliver's analogy. It's not as great as Nash's. But that's
Less
that's just what
colorful.
Yeah, colorful. I let people know, and I'll tell you off air. It's a couple of the boys in the business, like Hall of Famers, legends, that their shows going on now. They've called me up and asked me, which I was surprised. Um, I let people know is equipment is easy, as you said. Find your voice. They're like, what do you mean? Why should I take 15, 20, 30 minutes? Now, YouTube shorts are these shorts now. Shorts now is 60 seconds, but now they didn't advance it. I'm not sure if you know, shorts now can be a little longer. Why should I take 60 seconds to 2 minutes to 20 minutes to an hour to listen to you? Talk about something that everybody else is talking about. Fans that think they know the business, the boys that's in the business giving their critique back in my day, or just what they think now. Why should I listen to you? Or what makes you different? You know this working in film, which I'll ask real quick to get your details on that. You know, working on film, you on set. You sit there, you got the cameras, all these cameras and shit in your face. You got the PRs here, go ahead, make up people running around patting your face. What makes you different? Well, you know, you on camera. What makes you stand out? You know, you can do the everybody can do the same thing, but it's something about you, how you move your eyes, how you move your mouth that's different. So I tell people you gotta find your voice, how you speak, how you say words, not accent, just knowing as you say the details. Do you know how to do a segue? You know how to do an intro? You know how to do an outro? That's the stuff people when they get into it seriously, they're like, oh, I didn't think about it. Because all I hear people do is talk.
Well, because they get lost.
Right,
They get lost. People who want to do a show, you could get lost in all that stuff you just talked about: the mics, the
right,
lights, graphics. Oh yeah, yeah. Check out this logo. Check out this logo. Are you showing me your logo for 4 hours? What's the show? You know, like
right.
they could get it on a set. All the stuff that's
Mhm.
happening, it's
Right.
easy to forget that with the crane and the camera and the boom and this and the wires and
The
11 trucks
drone.
and catering and in an area that's this big with two people sitting at a table, that's where the magic is going to have to happen when the camera rolls. All that
Exactly.
other stuff just sets the stage for when the two people sit down in front of the lights with makeup on their face and the magic has to happen. You know, it all goes back to sex, Evan, doesn't it always? I hate to be
It
Freudian
always is.
with you right here, but you just said, "Oh, what makes me special? Well, the way I use my eyebrow, whatever. What makes one different from the other? The anatomy's the damn same. Look at this shit. We all the same.
Still
We
titties,
look
it's
the same.
still ass, it's still pussy, it's still a
It
dick,
still
still
functions.
an
The
arm.
diameter, the
It's
measurements are
supposed to be
not
the same.
that different. With you, probably by genetics, would disagree with
Look,
me.
I ain't no baby arm. Shout out to my man.
You fucking
I'll text him now. Look, I'm gonna text my man T Code. I just talked to him yesterday. Baby arm.
no. But
That's
what
what he used to
makes
call
them
him.
special? It's all the little nuances in the performance, right? Your
Yeah, the
favorite,
pigmentation, the size, the little mole hair, stretch mark there, the little blackhead. What
and
you
it's
know.
just 5 degrees in either direction, left or right. But if you go through your mental Rolodex that we won't tell your wife about, you have a few of the cards that get moved to the front when you need
Exactly.
to think about it. And really, what was it? Because the goddamn biology of it was exactly the damn same. But what is it?
It's different. Exactly. And I know being an art major, I done had to draw tons of new models, male, female. Still a dick, still titties, still an arm, still ass. They all look different. Shout out to Biggie Man. Some Boogie Man said to me, we was at the bar, speaking of bars. We was at the bar, it was a me, Boogie Man, my close friend, shout out Stevie Ray, Booker T brother, this close personal friend. I love that man. We talked not long ago. Who will call you up and cuss you out, by the way. And we never talk wrestling.
Good.
He like, motherfucker, what's up with you? That's how that's how we talk. Never says hello. Unless when my mom passed away, is the only time he called me. He was like, Evan, you know, he got that voice. You good, bro? Yeah, I'm good. All right, just checking on you. What the fuck are you doing? But we was at the bar, me, Booker T, Stevie Ray, some other people. Not Booker T, I'm sorry. Stevie Ray, Boogie Man, some other people, not mentioning. It's like Hoovy, your boy Hooventide was there. Hooventide, the juice. who was trying to get everybody tequila shots, knowing we all drinking dark on purpose. And Boogeyman said it was sex. He said, brother, look, man. He kept doing that. Look, he just got his teeth in. This is when he got the implants. I was like, oh, you got teeth now? I said, yeah, man. He said, brother, look, you come to sex. He said, the shell's different, but the nut's still the same. While he was eating the M&M on my mom's grave, he said that. Speaking of sex, I always say that, oh, Boogeyman. After this, took shots of bourbon. Hoovin to you round of tequila shots. Hoovy, you know we taking did it on purpose. I said, I ain't drink. You don't drink no tequila after no bourbon. Come on, man. He did it, and then he did a shot of hot sauce. It's this movie.
Why?
I love hot sauce, but anyway. Speaking of fans, you're not gonna look at sex the same. I guess it's a sex education from your brother Tech, from Sean Oliver. I'm sure if Nash were here, Nash would give what would be Nash's analogy? And you can tell him about this conversation. I want to know his analogy with sex.
With what compared to what?
Compared to the show, like we talked about sex.
Oh, to doing a show. I'll
yeah,
ask him. I'll ask him next week.
Yeah, ask him, man. Before we let
Cut
you
up
go,
this. Submit this as a clip. Well, I'll play it as a question for him. Pull it. And...
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. For us, when you see this in wrestling, I'm gonna say this: name 3 wrestlers when you see trees. You think about, and because you're prolific in movies, I'm a movie lover as well, and I love when you and Kevin talk about movies and shows. Because there's some stuff that y'all mentioned that I didn't watch. I was like, all right, let me put it in my list. What 3 movies come to your mind when you see it, trees or jungle, and what 3 wrestlers come to mind when you see that?
So when you say a trees and a rainforest, you mean literally, or is this a euphemism from your community that has not reached me yet?
Hey, this thing I know my
I know the Mount Rushmore. The white people do the Mount Rushmore. Is this trees in the rainforest meaning the same thing, or do you mean who's a big hairy motherfucker that looks like a tree?
I'm talking about this background that you put so eloquently, if you will, on this show. As you see that you put up, that's what I mean. It ain't got nothing to do with black people. Cause see, my people, we don't play with nature. Y'all do. Think about it. When do you?
You have it right. We're jumping out of planes like assholes.
Exactly. We ain't doing that shit.
You understood God gave us a few basic fucking rules. Stay on the ground, eat some fucking food, and pop out a kid. That you don't have to jump out of a fucking plane or hold on to a water ski. I so agree that you're going to be here billions of years after we're gone. Believe me.
And stop putting raisins in everything. By the way,
do we have to wrap everything in bacon? It overpowers
and that's
everything.
true. Right, we gotta stop putting bacon and salt.
Bacon's on bacon. Leave the fucking bacon. You don't have to wrap it, right? It's perfectly. It's a perfect side dish for me. You don't have to wrap my scallop in the shit because now I can't taste it.
Now you wrapping chicken and shit.
A whole other show we can go into.
Yeah, we could. Yeah, that'll be the next show. Me and Sean talking about food and the dynamics.
Right, and we can tie it into sex. You don't have to wrap that in bacon. It doesn't have to taste good. Just cook and get it done.
Yeah, do all this oil and shit, all this strawberries and cream and
fuck that.
Somebody got no.
I can't eat strawberries. I got shit to do. Get it done.
Yeah. Somebody I know use cream cheese. Personally, not mentioning, you know who this is because you listen to my show and you also listen to Sean's. Use Philadelphia cream cheese. You ain't need that shit. Just get it done. Bust the nut. You know, as you say, wrestling go on. Make the pop. Hit the spot. So since this background that you made for us, I don't know what it is rocks to my left, your right, and trees and the sky. You see a branch over there. 3 movies that you think about.
Wow.
You can't say King Kong because that'd be a.
No, 3 movies. My God. And then you asked me 3 movies, and then you said something else. 3
wrestlers.
3 wrestlers. Jungle. I'm thinking jungle. Okay. Kamala,
Mm-hmm.
the great Jim Harris. Um, did you think it was funny too that Kamala, the wrestler's real name was Harris?
Mm-hmm.
Did that ever hit you for a minute
It
when
did.
Kamala Harris came up?
I did. I
Okay.
did. I told my wife that. Cause see, I made the mistake. Cause when I see the name, I say Kamala. I don't say her name right. By default, I just say Kamala.
Well, I
But
had
that's
to educate.
stupid.
I had to educate because
Yeah,
you see it and you go because of what we're conditioned to, because of this
exactly.
stupid sport we talk about all the time. I think about Kamala the wrestler, not Kamala Harris. So just had okay, pronounced two different ways. You're Susan, you're Suzanne. I can do that. I can do that. So all right, so jungle, rainforest. I'll say Kamala. Um, I wasn't a fan of it. I'm a fan of Tony Atlas, but I was not a fan of the Saba
Oh
Simba
my god.
gimmick.
Oh
That was
god.
just a little too over the top.
Yeah. Good dude, Tony. Tony's funny in his own way.
Oh, Tony's
I
so
love
good.
Tony. I love
I
Tony.
love work. It's my most underrated. It's my sleeper hit. People want to talk about all the Cornette DVDs, you put on an hour and a half of me with Tony Atlas doing You Shoot. When I go through all the shoes, which shoes he wants on his face more, and he likes the face walking thing when the ladies
Yeah,
walk on his
yeah, yeah.
face.
Mm.
Yeah. So, great show. That was a great show.
Teddy Long, Teddy Long. Shout out to Teddy. But Teddy Long told me a story where I don't know if he told you this, where Dave was leaving the gym. I don't know if it was a gym or a restaurant, and Tony Atlas stopped before they got to the car and saw this older lady's feet, and he laid down on the parking lot and wanted her to walk on his face, and
Yeah.
she
Oh, I
did.
don't doubt it. He's done it at
And
like
this
the
is after
hotel.
they left. Like, this is why you're going to the car. I don't know if they was going to the car, the limo, but while they were leaving, and we've been with Tony. I've seen it. I just said I was gonna use the N word. Don't touch my feet. He was like, nah, you good, you're okay. He said my bad.
See, but if you had a fetish, Lord
Mhm.
knows what you're up to during the week, but if you had a
Yeah,
fetish
being persistent.
that was
Oh, everything.
somewhat socially acceptable. All right, listen, a guy laying down and someone stepping on their face. It's not something you see in the Walmart parking lot every
It's
day.
not, it is not.
However, no one's breaking the law. I mean,
No, no.
not it's consensual and it's just someone stepping on their face. They're clothed. So, so if you could do that with your fetish and you had the power of a Tony Atlas to just walk past someone and go, look at that. Look, excuse me, ma'am, and call
Look,
over and take care of business right there, you would do it too. You would.
you would, and let's not forget and shout out to my cousin Chuck, the Chuckster. He picked up on this doing the
Chuck D,
ECW
is
run.
that Chuck D? Do you know Chuck D?
I met Chuck D. I don't know him, but my
Oh,
cousin Chuck.
I thought that
My
was your
cousin
cousin.
Chuck.
I got excited.
Nah, I don't know Chuck D. We all ain't related, Sean. Just 'cause he black, we ain't related, man.
Right? See, see, I just got kicked out of the
Look,
cookout.
look, just like Kliq This, we talk about so much other shit. We did we even talk wrestling?
I don't.
No.
Hopefully not.
Yeah,
That would have made
yeah,
this a much
forget
more interesting show.
it. Yeah, no AEW shit, Kitty Khan, the Tony Khan shit. Yeah, Tony, you'll never get on the media calls. He don't want me on the media calls. I'm too straightforward, by the way. Love you, Tony. And he has a soft handshake. I was told this by my grandfather, World War II vet, military combat vet. They use 1905 rifles. Showed me pictures. He taught me. He said, "You know a man by how he shakes your hand, and if he gives you a soft handshake, he a snake."
Right. All right, but I'm going to build on that for you here. Here's an interesting sidebar. Football player, I'm going to forget. I think Tim Green wrote a book called The Dark Side of the Game. And it was all about
Yeah, yeah,
things about being a professional athlete that you would never know.
yeah.
And one of the things he talked about was one of the pet peeves he had was
Mhm.
when a dude would come up to him and shake his hand hard because, he's a big guy. So the guy wants to be like, yeah, and he said, you don't understand as a defensive lineman. I can't remember if he's a lineman or a linebacker, but anyway, he said, my hands are banging off helmets and shoulder pads all week long. I can barely unclench my fists, and you're going to crush my hand with a handshake. Very funny, but you see these big football players, they hated when someone shook their hand hard because their hands in football are always in pain.
That's true. Tim Green was white guy, right?
Yeah.
He was defensive end.
Oh, he's a DE. Okay.
He was a DE. Yeah, I remember clips of him on like the old NFL Network stuff, like the NFL films. I knew he was talking about. I didn't know he had a book, so I'm going to check it out. That's true. And I don't want to say black culture, but they teach you this in general. You know, you meet a man, shake the hand hard. You look him firm in the eye. You know, and that's in some aspects and cultures that's true. But as he said, with athletes, you don't really do that. You know, you just as long as you make eye contact, because that's a good analogy. I never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
Like we're wrestlers with the boys, we know. Do not talk to me about wrestling. Talk to me about anything else. So it's just, different things you just learn. Fast food, you at the bar, you buy them a shot, you buy another shot. You know the rule at the bars we talked about with your show. If the boys buy you a shot, you can't reject it unless you like legit allergic. And I told somebody I was with before with the Hoovy thing, as I told you, I drank it later. I said, I got you, brother. I got you. I just can't do it now because I'm mixing and getting sick. I got you. That's just certain unwritten rules, as protocol. Like we're broadcasting, you give somebody. Sean is my brother. We're friends. I'm the persistent one, and Sean is the white silver fox. As an unwritten rule, as you suppose you have. All right, Greg Valentine. You do an interview with Greg Valentine today, Saturday. I interviewed Greg Valentine on Monday. Unwritten rule is if whoever posts the show first, if you posted the show first, I'm not going to post mine right after yours. I'm going to wait a good 6 weeks, maybe like 2 months before I post mine because it's out of respect because I don't want to be direct competition to you. You heard that before. That's an unwritten broadcasting rule.
When we were running Kayfabe Commentaries, when they had active production, when we had active productions, a lot of times when a star would come into town, there are other production companies that would sometimes would book as well. So if I knew that, let's say Rob Feinstein had somebody in and I had them in, we would talk beforehand. We had a good enough relationship where I could say, Rob, or he would text me and be like, hey, I know you're working with Valentine. When are you putting that out? And I had my production schedule usually 3 quarters ahead filled. So I could say, it's not going to be till March. He goes, all right, I'll put mine out this month. Or we would ask what show, like something like Timeline is so specific just to 1 year that if Rob was doing a whole career retrospective of somebody, it wouldn't matter. I wouldn't release it at the same time, but the shows wouldn't conflict because our person is doing Timeline or a guest booker where they're just talking about booking a territory. Yeah.
Right. And you're right, because I've dealt with that with Rob when we've interviewed the same people and he's texting me, hey, brother, hey, I got you. You putting that out, we'll talk, and and that's what you do. You have mutual respect. Like, hey, I don't want to post something and you do if it's simple, if it's just us doing a shoot interview, but in your case, timeline, or if you're talking about something specific, or as me and Sean been talking fans about sex and cookouts and walking on feet, foot fetishes and everything else, totally different than your regular. Oh, so Sean, 1962, when you worked on Sex in the City, which we'll get to, doing that shit. Speaking of which, I know, so Saba Simba, Kamala, third one.
Yeah, jungle gimmick. Why was Man Friday, Kamala's handler, masked? Why did he need to be masked? The old mask gimmick was always like, this person from Mil Mascaras could be a a world famous, another world famous star, and he doesn't want anyone to see who he is. Why is the guy that's hitting Kamala with the little stick to move forward, why does he need a mask, for God's sakes? I just never understood that. These inconsistencies in wrestling trouble me. How about, can I throw the Wild Samoans in? Just,
Yeah.
I mean, Samoa, not
Yeah.
necessarily the environment you were talking about, but it's still, I guess there is the thicket of Samoa that I wouldn't want to be
Yeah.
lost in.
Yeah, that would be cool to watch Samoans because it has to be them because the Islanders as well.
Right, but they were too civilized.
Oh yeah, Wild Samoans are crazy.
Yeah.
Albano as well with them. That's really it. Yeah, I have to say those. Those.
I honestly, I can't think. Can you think of another gimmick that used like that jungle background in the character, like pulled from the jungle and put into the
Uh,
ring?
if you, gosh, if you really, do you want to count the Stalker Barry Windham?
No.
Because he said no. Now you know we're old school. That we definitely gotta be in the business, wrestling fans to know that. Uh, that I can't think of nobody. William Regal, a man's man, but he was in the force a lot, but he did cut trees. But these never happened though, as we saw on the show. It never happened. We act like it never existed. I don't think, Sean. I think that's it for us. The jungle.
Yeah. A lot of Polynesian influence, but not too much African influence when you think about it.
Nah, it's I'm even thinking about a buy-in. I mean, black people always was dancing and shit, doing dumb, crazy shit for us all gimmicks growing up. Um,
You're gonna have 11 posts by the time the first day this is up, with people throwing shit at you. Bro, you
yeah.
forgot blah blah blah.
Oh, damn, you're right. I did forget about that. All right, what about movies?
Uh, ooh, jungle
Not,
motifs.
not,
Well,
not.
okay. What's that?
I say not King Kong.
No, how about, all right. Um,
I got one. I'm gonna
see,
wait for you to finish. I just thought about it, and it's wrestling. It's tied into wrestling too.
I don't know. I'm thinking Salvador with James Woods, but that was in El Salvador. It wasn't. I mean, I guess, could there be rainforests in El Salvador? I don't recall. I don't know why that
Huh?
came to mind initially. I remember Romancing the Stone took place. That was a
Yeah.
comedy in
Mm,
the 80s.
yep.
Remember that one?
Yep. Romancing the Stone, because that was around the time Romancing the Stone. What was the fighting one? Uh, Michael Douglas, War of Roses. It was Romancing the Stone and the War of Roses and it was them kind of S movies. Fatal Attraction. It was that Danny DeVito, Michael Douglas kind of
While we're
fun.
on Michael Douglas, for God's sakes, could you imagine, as a married man, if you got cancer of the throat or the mouth, whatever he had, and you went public with the fact that you tried to drop some knowledge that the reason you had that was performing oral on your wife? Could you imagine what you would have to deal with at home? How he said that about the cause of the cancer. Do you remember when that hit the news? A little,
I sure did.
yeah.
I
And I'm
sure
like,
did.
boy, you got some set if you're going public with that.
In number one, why didn't you just say you had cancer of the throat? You didn't have to give details of how you got it and why. Because you find out your wife and now you thinking, damn, yo, what's wrong with your wife's hearts? Like,
That's what I'm saying. It sound. He was trying to make it like no matter who, there's a transfer of something. But when someone reads that in the paper, they're thinking of that beautiful woman who's being spoken about like having a stinky Twinkie.
yeah, man, that's I have a friend that got similar, didn't get throat cancer, but had a tongue infection and a throat infection from giving a dude fellatio. Because I remember when she called me when she went had to go to the hospital to get antibiotics.
How 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 fucked up
Yes,
is your rod
yes, exactly. That
that
means you don't clean.
oh
You
my
got
lord. She needs to meet a different class of man, clearly. And this was a friend of yours, the guy or the girl was the friend.
the guy. Yeah, Michael Douglas is who we talking about. But yeah, this personal friend of mine. This is back 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I remember when that happened. I was in college, and I'll never forget that. I was sitting in college, and she came and told me. Still friends to this day. And she won't mind. That's why I said that's why I said publicly. She'll tell anybody. That's why she lives. She never again. But that lets you know as a person, like what's wrong with you? You're not cleaning. You got some kind of how. And as you said, all you had to do was say, and if it's anybody's business. First of all, we didn't even need to know you had throat cancer unless you had to say it publicly for a role or because shooting is delayed. Okay, I got throat cancer. No one needs to know how or why.
And for God's
You
sakes, if
got
that
it.
if that's what you think, let's say you think that's how you got it, you don't have to share.
That's
You don't have to
personal.
share. Someone else is involved. It's terrible. Listen,
You
let me
said it.
ask you a question. When
Sure.
I know you're going to be interviewing JJ Dillon. Are we going to do the same topics on that show? Uh, is this what the JJ Dillon interview sounded like by any chance? I'm feeling like it didn't.
Look, I haven't talked to JJ in a year. I still have I still have his number. But since you mentioned it, I will reach out to him, and it'd be interesting to see how JJ feel. I mean, we talked a lot in the car about a lot of stuff. He even told me about Sullivan. He said, Sullivan grew up as a Catholic boy. I said, what?
Yeah,
And I told Sullivan, it's like, brother, yeah, but you can't tell him kayfabe, brother. The taskmaster.
that's true.
But yeah, there'll be something to talk about. Matter of fact, I think now on my show, I will always do a segment with sex. I'm gonna let you come up with a name. I'm good with names. I'm gonna let you come up with a name and tribute to you. We're gonna have something because we talk about sex on my show. Come on now.
Right.
um, Rainforest movies, Romance in the Stone. Here's one.
Yeah, you said you had one for me, and
And when I say this, you're gonna kick, like you said, the comments we gonna get. Predator.
yeah,
Y'all see,
absolutely. Yep.
that movie was great, and it's
Yeah, I
sad to
went
see.
to see. I don't see the background of what you're speaking right here in the live. So for some reason, I went to jungle, so I went Africa, but South America, rainforest. There might have been some more for me to pull from. Um, Thinking in terms of that. Um, but whatever. I don't want to put the audience to sleep here, for God's sake.
No,
So
no, they're fine. We talk
my
about
failure
sex,
to find
talk
rainforests.
about sex, and they'll wake up. What is your honest thoughts of the media with wrestling? I know we both cover the sport. I mean, we talk about more than wrestling. I know on my show, boxers, and I just had Sam Furstenberg who directed. Remember the American Ninja movies, American Ninja One, American Ninja Two, with Michael Dudikoff.
80s, yeah, mid 80s, 85, 86, right? Yeah.
Breaking Two, Electric Boogaloo. This interview Sam Furstenberg, the director of those movies. We talk about a whole bunch of different stuff on my show, different people. The media, what's your thoughts of this media? With you got the shout out to Roz Gary, good personal friend of mine. I've known him for over 10 years, Wrestling Inc. But it just now just seems the wrestling media now, or as they say, dirt sheets, is becoming more now like the old school trash tabloid TMZ. Remember when Princess Diana died? I remember that watching it live when you start doing with the paparazzi and that sleaze and that's what the media, wrestling media, is getting at. Is we tell people we're radio hosts and we cover wrestling and other things, and you get a look from the when I say common folk, but just the people that's not in the business, just the regular people, and they equate that with like, oh, well, you like You see the stuff with Sean Ross Sapp, stuff going back and forth. JD from New York, who I do know personally, back and forth with Tony Khan and all this other stuff, and people saying things. Dave Meltzer, who definitely respect to, but this stuff going on with him back and forth, and the fans don't like him, and the boys don't like him. They're back and forth. And Ron Alvarez, some of the goats of the journalism. It just seems like now it's like a circus, and there's no. It doesn't seem like credibility, if that makes sense, like it was back in the day. Like our friend Bill After, who I love, and he's the only Jewish man that slapped me in my face. He's the only one that can, besides him and my man Mark Crisco. He did slap me in my face, not a big slap, but a pat. But am I wrong, Sean? Are you saying it the same way it was? It's just like the circus and this all this back and forth shit. Like, what are y'all doing?
Well, don't you think though that that kind of could be said for the traditional media too, right? You the media itself, the news, let's call it the news. How much of the news is news, and
Yeah,
how
true.
much are personalities commenting on news? That's different than news, tuning in, getting the broadcast, getting the facts, getting the story. That's news. Now it's become news entertainment, newsertainment, right? All these channels now are newsertainment channels. It's not like the old Walter Cronkite broadcast where you just got what happened that day and that was it, and everybody watched the one news. You could extrapolate and make your own opinions based on that, but you didn't. The news wasn't like a buffet. Like, oh, he talks about stuff. He feels like I feel, so I'm going to watch this and call it news. And so people now go to it where it caters to their personality. So naturally, the wrestling media, for your news channel to rise above the other news, you have to
Mm.
do something a little special. You've got the old stalwarts. You mentioned Meltzer, who's been here for 40 years doing it, and the handful of places. There were a few wrestling websites which were the dirt sheets before that, but there
Mm.
were a few places you could go for news. Now you go anywhere. Now it's just
Yeah,
now with social media. Now it's just, you just drop it on Twitter. You don't even have to have necessarily a corresponding story with it. You just put a link to someone else's story. So yeah, so now it becomes newsertainment, and just like the political coverage is newsertainment today, the wrestling stuff is. It's some outlets. There are some that still try to keep it to just the facts, ma'am, type thing. But yeah, news and entertainment has fused.
it has. You're right. That's a good point. What's your thoughts on these media scrums? These, well, basically, it's a post press conference. The scrum, and your thoughts on the formatting, the different formats now, which you see WWE now post events. Besides the big four, you got 2.5 to 2 hours and 45 minutes, 5 match card. Quick, get it done, like you said. Sacks, boom, fuck, get it out the way. It ain't a one night stand, but it's hey, we gonna do what we do. Da 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 da. Go, busting out, go home. You get AW is more the long getting dressed and the long progress. You do that and you go pick out chocolate and then the flowers and you have a pre-match hors d'oeuvre and then you pre-game with 5 shots and you talk and then you get to the restaurant and then you have appetizing you eat and then you go to dessert.
Is the
Uh,
restaurant empty like the AEW arena, or are there people in the restaurant?
could be either or, but for AEW it's empty.
Okay.
It's like if you had your own restaurant to yourself, or if you went down like a Tuesday night.
Right.
You and I know about the Tuesday. That's
But they
one of
got
the
the
worst
drink
nights
special,
there.
goddamn it.
Yeah, exactly. Look, at least you get your order quick. Ain't nobody else here. so, so what's it? AEW got the hour and a half pre-show, 4.5 hour show. Then you gotta wait because I have friends that was there that's been at the scrums. Wait 30, 40 minutes before it even start. Then you got an hour and a half for the pre-show. It's like damn, that's a whole damn work shift.
Let me ask you, because you remember a time that I remember, that you had two shows on Monday night. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, you can't watch both at the same time. So you're gonna tape one. This is before DVR, everybody. That's why I
Yep.
said tape. You're gonna
We'll
tape
get you
one,
up.
and you're gonna watch one. Then you're gonna have there's maybe a pay-per-view within the next couple of weeks. There's gonna be a pay-per-view, right? And then you had Sunday Night Heat before that. You also had a WCW weekend show, and then they had Thunder on
Back to
Thursday.
back.
With all that programming,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, it did not feel like too much wrestling for me.
Nope.
Today feels like too much wrestling. Do you agree that there was
I
such a
agree.
difference?
It's
Beyond just adding up the hours, it didn't feel like too much then, feels like too much now.
because you think as a kid you had. I know for us. I know you probably go back to when Vince was a commentator. Remember that with
Yeah,
Antonio and
sure.
Antino Rocca? That was right before me. And some of them shows are good. You get a chance to watch them. Some of it is ugly. The selling is hilarious, but
Yeah.
I have to show you. I'll text you a clip of Leo Albano getting hit by Andre the Giant. The way he sold the hit, hilarious. But you think on me growing up, you had it was just okay WWF because being in Baltimore, we had both, but the NWA was heavy here. So we got NWA almost a month, like house shows, not including all the bashes. It was a time period. WWF from 80, because I have the book, by the way, which I'll show you, and I'll get you in touch with the author. Battleground Baltimore, the history of the Baltimore Arena, all the
Mm.
famous historic matches that happened here. I helped contribute to that book. Since '87, WWF did not come here at all until the 1993 King of the 1994, sorry, King of the Ring, because NWA was so heavy here. So I had people growing up, they just know NWA because they didn't have a TV, or when the TV was on, their parents didn't watch wrestling, so they only knew when they went to the arena or WWF. So for me growing up, it was like you said, programming was the main event or Saturday night's main event. We got superstars on Saturday afternoons. That was it. WCW was Saturday night, or they had main event. That was it. And this is before Nitro and Raw.
Before Raw, yeah.
Yeah, but then when Raw came on '93, it was Raw, Superstars. Sometimes you get Saturday night's main event, which by that time wasn't as much, but it was the Superstars, Raw, house shows. You had to look at the almanacs, remember them, and the wrestling magazines. WCW was Saturday night. Um, that was it. Nitro came, then it was Nitro, Raw. Those were 1 hours first. Remember, it wasn't two. It was just 1 hour. Saturday night was 1 hour too.
Hmm.
Then you had what was the other one? Pro with Dusty, and then you had Superstars. Still didn't seem like but it was more stretch. You had Monday and then Saturday,
Right. It's
and then
throughout the
Sunday
week.
morning. So you had to, and there wasn't no DVDs. It was either you did tape trading what we did, or
Yep.
you cut somebody, you flip channel. Then Thunder came along and SmackDown. Even then, it was Monday, Thursday, Saturday. That's it. And what did we say back then, Sean? Then we was like, man, I kind of want more wrestling because it was that's
Absolutely.
it did pay per views wasn't every month. Then it became it was still now it's like damn every damn fucking week.
Is it just because, do you think it's because they used that time wisely back then, that there was always something interesting for the most part in the ring or in an angle, whereas now there's too much fat that we don't care
Yeah,
enough about the angles? Do we just care more back then? I honestly don't have the answer, but I think about this.
I think we cared more then, and I think also too. I know it's a cliche, less is more, and you can ask Nash's too. You can ask him that. You can we can ask him to tell him I want to know too his thoughts because like with sex, if you fucking every day, it's cool, mm, but if you do it like 3 times a week, maybe twice a week, not saying not we're not going for like purposely neglecting your spouse, but anything to you up if you eat steak every day or fish every day it gets old. It's still
Well,
good.
but let's put a
But
spin on it.
mhm.
if Vince Russo was booking what went on in your bedroom, it would be interesting enough to keep your attention 3 and 4 times a week. Whereas I think if Tony Khan was booking what goes on in your bedroom, I think you'd fucking be out to marriage right now.
First of all, Tony Khan booking a damn sex will be a whole damn day and a half.
Would he
It will
leave
be
the ankle socks on? He's leaving the ankle socks on if he's booking
it would
that,
be
like
the ankle socks.
driver. Yeah.
It would be 50 shades. It would be like 50 Shades of Gray. Like it would be like literally 6 or 7 hours before foreplay. It would
Right.
be a pre-game show to the pre-game show, the pre-game show, then it'd be a post-game show of the pre-game show before you get to the actual show. Then it'll be a pre-game show of the post-game show before the post show.
Yeah. I would tag out and just let Samoa Joe finish the shit. I would just leave.
Look, you got the segment. What you do, Sean, with the tag out with Nash? Like, look, I remember one time Nash was quick. I don't know what it was. It was that Brazilian movie or some shit. I actually watched that. That horrible. No, it was that acting movie you showed them. It was like some of the worst acting.
Oh, one of the tap out segment.
Yeah, and Nash was like tap within 5 seconds. That'd be me. But back to what you said, I think it's less is more, man. It was just Monday in the height of it. What modern fans probably know, Monday, Thursday, Saturday, and then sometimes Sunday. That was
Right.
it. 2 hours on Monday, 2 hours. Well, both shows 2 hours. The Nitro went to 3, which was a mistake. 2 hours SmackDown, 2 hour Thunder. Saturday shows was 1 hour.
Sunday Night Heat. You're forgetting Sunday
Oh
Night
yeah,
Heat.
that's right. And Sunday Night Heat still was sporadic. You got it, but it was like okay, we still had time to breathe and Sacks refractory period for fans
Right.
don't know what's after we busting that and we gotta get time to do it again or is unique. But now it's like damn, think about it. Monday is what Raw. Raw is now 2 hours temporarily.
Oh, right. Until
Tuesday is the NXT.
Yes.
NXT. Wednesday Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
Thursday that could be MLW, NWA, maybe.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe
Uh,
you can watch
okay,
Thursday Night Football Thursday. Take a
okay,
break.
third,
You
yeah.
come back
Football.
Friday.
Friday is SmackDown. Saturday, I'm sorry, Friday is SmackDown and Rampage.
Yep.
Saturday is Collision. Not to mention now, WWE pay-per-views on Saturdays if they're not doing the Big Four or
Right.
doing 2 nights. AEW is Sunday, their pay-per-views, which is like 89 hours long. So on average, you have 4 out of the 5 days of the week that wrestling is on. No, I'm sorry, five out of the six.
Well,
Because you got
Thursday, yeah, because Thursday's the only day off, really.
yeah, so you got Monday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. Definitely, not including pay-per-views. And if you do, then it means Saturday is double. Because I mean, who watches Collision? But you just for argument's sake, Collision pay-per-view on Saturday, WWE, and then Sunday if that's the week with AEW.
Right.
That's a lot, bro. That's a lot.
It's a lot, and it's for some reason I don't think it could sustain the attention level, honestly, with what's produced. Not like back in the day, like I'm saying.
It's a lot. And kudos, I love WWE and what they're doing and their formatting. And I haven't watched a Raw beginning to end in years, probably like 2 years. Now I watch clips. There've been times I mean, why? And then if you have a family, if you're married, people that are married, family, stuff like that, don't really have time. And then if you do, I mean, it's football, so we can watch football first.
Mm-hmm.
Or something else is watch clips. I mean, most people watch highlights just to know it. And think about that, Sean. Think about it. It got to the point we can just watch highlights and cover the show. Back in the
Correct.
day, we had to watch the whole show.
And thank God for that. Holy
Sean,
shit.
are you gonna watch Raw? Are you gonna watch Raw Monday, beginning to end? 8 o'clock to 10 p.m. Eastern.
No, I'm going to find out on Tuesday what I need to look at in case it comes up in the show, and I'll spend 14 minutes of my life looking at that. But now your friends that are not in this aspect of the business, like fans, guys that would watch and go to the arena, right? Don't do anything in the business. Do they watch both I'm going to say all products because it's not just both, because AEW is, NXT is still kind of its own thing. So do they watch all, or do they pick a favorite product and just like watch AEW or just
I have a few that watch both or all, and I always encourage that for anybody. But a lot of people now are divided. And that's another thing. Is you got your people that are strict WWE, you got people that are strict AEW. The only time they'll watch either or is something big happen. Like I know people that won't watch Dynamite or watch an AEW pay per view. They've come to my house where I'm reviewing it or have it on, and they'll take a look. And these are the WWE at using Hogan WWE ites them, and then something big happened, like Daniel Bryan with the plastic bag doing the old Terry Funk and Ric Flair gimmick, or Swerve, and Hangman and that crazy ass bit. They'll tune it. AEW same way. Some people ain't watched WWE until Punky came back, or now with that Hell in the Cell with Drew and Punk. So it has to be something big for them to switch over. Everything is so divided. I'm like, dude, when I was a kid, this is like heaven. Now I'm older, like I ain't watching all this shit. But it's like, yo, watch AEW. I mean, the storylines don't make sense. It's dumb as shit, but it's still cool. WWE, they're not opposed to any judgment either. Watch their stuff. Enjoy them for what they are. Watch MLW. Watch NWA. Matter of fact, watch Japan. Watch the UK. I always tell people that, like, when you can, and you have the internet, you have YouTube, you have Daily Motion, you got other sites that are illegal that I know people use that I may not know of. Wink, wink. It's divided, Sean, because back in our day, it was WWF, WCW, ECW, and but everybody watched everything. It was, remember the days, they was like, I had a friend, Arthur, used to say, hey, Goldberg was at Raw. He spared Stone Cold Steve Austin. Nigga, you lying. He would always say that. Wait, Sting showed up on Raw, and he beat up Shawn Michaels. Like, wait, uh, the dumpster Drosy showed up on Nitro, and he was challenging Randy Savage. He would say all this crazy shit he would mess with the teachers, and people that didn't watch wrestling, they would believe it. But think about now what we end up getting legit: Goldberg and WWE, Sting WWE, you know what I mean? Christian TNA. Even when TNA was on, people they watched WWE and TNA. Some people didn't know what the hell TNA was. They had people say, wait, Kurt Angle still wrestle? Sting still wrestle? They on TNA. What, titties and ass? No. What's TNA? Wrestling? What is that?
When I was a kid, I could watch WWF at the time, right? WCW on AWA was on ESPN.
Yep.
World Class out of Texas would get syndicated up here to MSG Network. So I could watch 4 major territories throughout the week, and I watched them all equally. Like, I was most invested in this area. We were a WWF city, so they came here every month, and so there was a lot of WWF programming between like their weeklies, their Saturday weeklies. Then you had primetime wrestling with Gorilla and Bobby. You had TNT for a while, which was like a talk show format. So there was a lot of WWF. But in addition to that, I would catch World Class on Saturday evenings. I would catch WCW when it was, and then before that, I think did I get it when it was Mid-Atlantic? I guess it was called Mid-Atlantic still. Anyway, I watched it all, and I watched it all with interest. Today, I think people have their favorite, and they watch the other one to just shit on social media and make fun of. They don't watch it for interest. I watched it all for interest.
Yeah. Did you get Florida at all?
We didn't get Florida. Maybe it was like later on one of the UHF channels, if you remember what that was, like that
Yeah,
alternate
yeah.
dial.
Within the dial,
But I
yeah.
didn't catch it ever.
We every now and then, cause remember the scramblers?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, every now and then, if you call like you had the UHF dial or a scrambler, I would catch Florida, depending on
Okay.
which one house. But I had buddies that we used to tape trade all the time, so they had wrestling from Florida, and that's
Yeah.
also how I got to see. My mom called it the Texas League, but world class
Right.
stuff and global as well. People forget about
Oh, right.
global stuff. So yeah, people we watch it just to enjoy it. Yeah, it's dumb shit Tony Khan do. Yeah, some stuff WWE do that don't make sense. But it, look, that drought 2001 when we had no competition, when it was just Vince and it was no WCW and everybody was
Right.
crying and oh, we want no competition. I'll shut your mouth. Now you got it. You may not like it. Now you got another billionaire that's worth more than Vince that's doing a product, even though going through growing pains, it's still something. This is what you wanted. You may not like it. It's like Jesus Christ, he ain't what you want. He's still who he is. Or any religious figure you may say, Gandhi or Muhammad or well, hey, if y'all know my history, I could talk about that too, but that'll bore the crowd. So this enjoy it, man. Like this, you ain't have to pay out your pocket for pay-per-views like me and Sean had to do. We ain't had the internet.
Sure.
Either you had a scrambler or you did the illegal long ass extension cord where you had to steal somebody else's cable. Cause so that's just
Over the alley, right? The
yep,
wire through the
alley,
alley. Yeah.
hanging it through the alley, hanging it through the window sills of people with long extension cord across the street. People did the same thing with electricity. You ain't have to pay BGE. The government regulated electric bill, so they would take somebody else's electricity and share it. I understand it, man. But real quick before you go, and I thank you for your time because I know we over time. You're having fun. Talk about your film background. You people may not know you've done film. I don't know if you've, and I know you've done stuff before in Hollywood. I don't know specifically what you've done myself. Have you done writing? Have you done directing? Were you like a PA? And what projects have you worked on? I know you worked on Sex in the City. Um,
Yeah.
but what's your background with film?
So that's what I wanted to do always. It's by some bizarre cosmic curse. I just sat here and talked about wrestling for 2 hours, but in my childhood, I wanted to get into movie. I wanted to make films. I went to school for media, film, television, radio, so I could get my hands on equipment and start directing and start making things and cutting film. And I was doing that as a kid with videotape, getting my hands on a video camera, shooting my own little movies, and tying two VCRs together and doing a very primitive editing of the raw footage into these little films, quote unquote films. They were shot on video, but so that's what I wanted to do. And I was a young actor also. So, I mean, that's what I wanted to do with my life. I always wrote. Um, my first book wasn't published till I was 45, but I always wrote. I had screenwriting courses in school when I was studying film. So I always wrote. I always made my own little films and I was always acting. And so I started acting, I guess, right out of high school. And though some point in that process, because it is a laborious task being an actor and auditioning all the time and getting little parts here and there in this film and that TV show. But somewhere in that, my manager at the time says, "Hey, you know what looping is?" I said, "Yeah, of course, adding dialogue, just adding dialogue to a scene." She's like, "Okay, there, I want you to go do a gig for somebody, blah blah blah," and I nailed the practice of voice work and looping, matching what's on the screen in the mic in the studio naturally and adding to it, that I fell into that world and I started doing voice work on movies and TV shows. And that quickly replaced my on-camera pursuit because I was able to. It was a much smaller world. It was easier to get the work. It was the same money as if you're filmed in it, if your face is in it, as long as your voice is in it. It was the same thing. So I started working a ton in that. It was a small world, and I was, I guess, able to be quick enough on my feet that I could come up with dialogue that matched what they were trying to do on screen. So I probably have 200 major motion picture and TV credits for voice acting, and that kind of became my thing, strangely enough. And then I started this crazy wrestling company when I was in my 30s, and and then that took on its own life, and I went into publishing at 45 years old. I tell my kids all the time, and I think it's still on my, I think they have it as a quote on my Amazon author page. Is you don't have to be one thing. If you have varied interests and varied gifts, you should try to maximize all of them with equal fidelity. Um, Put your passions in a bunch of different places. That's what having a full life is all about. God, if I was chained to the same job and I went and did the same thing every day and only the same thing and looked forward to my, few vacation days a year and favorite show on TV that night and got ready to check out of the planet at age 75, I don't know that that would have been a very full life for me. I need to be creating. That's the ABCs of life, Evan. Always be creating. And I've been cursed
You,
with being a creative. So
you ain't want to be in the same position all the time in the bedroom.
yeah,
Let me
exactly.
keep.
It's
There you
it
go.
all comes back. It all comes back. Variety is the spice of life.
Look, Sean. Look, if you start getting questions on Kliq This one Nash now about when you posted on your area and I do on mine about sex,
I opened the door today for it, so I
you
I
you
deserve it.
did. You did. What do you feel? Trying to how to phrase this. In fairness, when me and Sean talk to each other about what we do, you know, we talking to each other so y'all can understand the scope of what we do, and because me and Sean under we do the same thing, so we understand in different levels of we can relate to each other, so we can tell you the fans how it is, give you all these great analogies. But of course, we're not the king of analogies. KOA Kevin Nash with it. What's more political? And I didn't know this till I started background acting 2 years ago. What 2.5 years ago. Shout out to Thea Washington. I love you much. Her casting other people. How political that shit can get. And I'm thinking on my end, I'm like wrestling. We know and love. We watch as fans. We done work with the boys. We done seen political shit. We done seen people with money. I done seen promoters fight and beg other wrestlers to give up some of their chains to pay a big star. I'll tell you off air who it was. Wrestles for WWE right now in the Hall of Fame. Then when I got on set, I was like, oh shit, this is political too. In it's a different animal. Not to say in a bad way. It's politics and everything, but like, damn. So what is worse? Is it? I guess you say Hollywood act. This where be indie Hollywood in general, where acting and filming and PAs and looping, or is it the business and wrestling?
I was never in a big enough position in entertainment where politics would have gotten in my way. Or I'm ignorant to it, which is possibly the reason. But I don't know. There's something about me too that uh, I won't suck a dick, and I mean it literally, obviously, but I also mean like I don't say something I don't mean. I won't say a particular work is wonderful if it's not. I mean, you work in film, you take the job you get. You can't sit there and say, "Oh, this is a wonderful script. I'll do it." When you're at our level, you have to do everything,
Yep.
right? And you go in and you do your job. But there's some people that go in and maybe are their opinions are a little more malleable, and they want people to think that they think this is the most wonderful project. And I was just never like that. They can't walk around and talk about what wonderful work this is if the thing was shitty. I do my job. You treat the job with respect. Everyone's working hard around you. But it was always a hard day, particularly in voice acting and in looping. You're doing 8-9 hours dealing with a bunch of chunks of a movie or a TV show. And it was always a much better day when it was a good product that you were working on, but there were plenty of days where it's not a good product. And I'm not going to sit there, whether the director's in the room or the editor, whoever we're working with at that moment, I'm not going to sit there and lie. I'm not going to criticize anything. But there were plenty of eye roll moments when I'm looking at what somebody thinks is God's gift to filmed entertainment, but it really is pretty base and shitty. But I can't sit there and lie to them. And I think sometimes that disingenuousness, okay, bunch of syllables, I think that prevails in that business. And I think people are always jockeying for position. But would it be any different than something in finance? Where people are afraid to be critical of a particular deal you're working on or something? Would it be any different in any other business? I think people are wired to position themselves in advantageous positions in everything, in wrestling, entertainment, or any business. You got blacker. I don't know how it happened. Something happened.
You know what? I got black because Sean Oliver is so amazing that my actual light went out. And it's never done this before within the past 8 days, and it did.
Do you see? I talked the light bulb to death.
The light out, but guess what? The light's about to come back on. That's what. This one you gotta use assistance. You gotta use a toy, Sean. Sometimes you need a little excitement.
You need to fire it up. Make sure the batteries are in. Make sure that shit's ready to roll.
Look, I added the toy. You charge for batteries. Look, please tell Mrs. Oliver that I said hello. I send my love and thank her for your time. I know did she listen to your shows at all?
Not at all. She has zero interest in anything. And that's the secret. That's the secret.
You know what? Mine is the same, man. She, not to say, look, if you guys listen, we gotta give a disclaimer, Sean. I done, you and I done voice work, That's why I said we're kind of bookends. We done a lot of similar stuff, except for I haven't written anything and written shows and stuff. If you have a spouse or a partner, male, female, side chick, side dude, both at the same time, with your main chick, main dude, this life. If they support what you do, that's good. If they listen into your content, if they watch your stuff, that's cool. But if they don't take it the wrong way. They still support and love you.
Mm-hmm.
They just probably don't give a shit. They just like us.
Right.
They could be in their shows and drama or musicals, or I don't want to watch that shit. Now we may watch it to be there, support.
Right.
But also don't go out our way unless they say, "Hey, honey, look at this." Okay, cool. Oh, that's cool. Like Nash, as he says, you pick a day, and that's I learned from him. Is all right, you watch a show, you enjoy it. But at the end of the day, they're not going to jump. Because I'm sure with Mrs. Oliver, stuff she watches it does, and you really don't give a shit about, but she supported because that's your wife. Same thing here. Good, honey. You had a good time. I'm happy. All right.
You know what it is? She's a creative too. She's a musical theater teacher, and she also owns her own youth theater academy in the inner city. It's a nonprofit. Trying to keep these classes are affordable. It's a rich man's game getting training in like music and dance and stuff. So she's heroic in that way, in that she her company gets kids in of all social strata and economic strata together, and takes them to theater competitions across the country and produces shows and gives them training with her partners, her choreographer, etc. So so we have that wonderful part of the relationship where we can both artistically share, ask for opinions. We understand what each other are going through. If I'm in
Mhm.
the middle of a tenuous writing process, or tough part of the book, or I'll read her something and say, is that enough? Or she'll show me something and or ask me about blocking a scene or set pieces. We're able to talk that talk. Um, our I do not sing or dance, or the world hasn't caught up to what I consider good singing and dancing. I am once they can understand what's coming out of me, the sound, it'll catch on. But I'm way ahead of my time, I think. But though we are not in the same discipline as artists, we do share in that, and our kids, having grown up around it, also, are performers also. So it is all in the family, as they say.
What have you learned from your wife in a creative standpoint?
Um, what have I learned from my wife? Not everything you think needs to be said.
I think we all can say that's universal as husbands.
So they are great teachers in that one commandment. They are massively contributing to society because they teach us all that eventually. Um, I mean, she's brilliant. I mean, she's I I envy her, certainly her work ethic, her attention to detail. I think there's a lot to learn from. I can be the type to go, oh, fuck it. What difference would it make? It doesn't matter if it's green or blue. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
maybe everything makes a difference, right? And you know, we all glean lessons from the people around us, no matter what walk of life they're in, and we can apply it to what we do.
I will say this is not sure if you ever been told this, but something that I learned is looking at your pictures, Instagram of your family, you and your wife, you could tell when there's love. I was told this my background with being an art major and just doing this line of work with you and other things that I do. You can look at a picture, you could feel something. It's like with an art piece. If I look at a picture of you and your family, and I feel love and feel affection and feel togetherness, that's what I see with you and your family, you and your wife. It's a picture of you. I think you're at the beach, you and your wife, and I think your daughter could be someone else. I'm not. You have one daughter too?
I have two daughters. I have one in college and one is turning 12.
Oh, okay. So you know the picture I'm talking about. You know that yeah, at the beach. I felt love, and I showed it to my friends and staff. This the very few small circle, and they know who you are and they support you. And I said, what do you see when you see this? I was like, oh, that's love. He loves him. She loves him. That's when you know, and that's what I felt. Because I've seen a lot of pictures in the business that we work in, music, TV, all of them. You don't feel shit. Oh, you just there.
Mm,
But with you guys, you really feel that love and that affection. Same thing with Nash and what I love about Nash and what I've learned too, and I learned this from Kurt Angle is like you do, we keep our personal lives private. Like what we'll say, everybody know we married, we just that, but it's private and you keep it like that. You get what I mean? And that's how it is. And I know Nash talks about his wife and all the time. Barely see her, barely see
right.
social media, barely post, and it's something I had to explain too. It's not that we don't care, but you keep that separation. And I feel that love from you and your wife and your kids, man. You got a lovable family and they support you and you look good too. I just had a, close friend of mine legit they say has Sean lost any weight and is the weight he lost is it by choice or just was it the pandemic that got you? I don't know if you ever
Well,
asked that question about your weight. And I was like, wait a minute. I said, yeah, Sean was doing the kayfabe commentary days. He was thick. And now he, slim and trim.
Well, you would have watched my whole progression. I was like this when I started Kayfabe Commentaries. Then,
Yep.
you get
You
into
got
the 40s, stuff
mm-hmm.
happens. But I got on the scale either yesterday or the day before. I'm down 40. So, yes, I've lost 40 pounds. I think my doctor says I have more to go. I don't know what the fuck she's smoking because I'm fading away here. But she said there's more weight to lose. So stay tuned. Maybe next time I come on, I'll be practically a rail. I'll be gaunt.
What was the most that you've weighed?
I never eyeballed this scale intensely, but when I started this program to lose the weight, I was 228. So I don't know if that's the heaviest I've been. Maybe it was. I didn't track it, obviously, because when I saw those numbers, I would have been terrified. So I just kind of lived in denial. So yeah, I started this weight loss when I was at 228, and I was 188 when I got on the scale the other day.
It was good. And I know you talked to Nash about working out. You guys will talk about that. And we'll wrap up in a couple of minutes. Once again, thank you much for your time. This has been in the works for about 2 years, but me and Sean talk regularly.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you even texting back because you're a busy man. I'm not on Sean Oliver's level yet, but I will be soon. Definitely so.
Maybe not with time commitments, but spiritually, you're probably far above me.
Yes. Exactly so. And as you say, you're invited to the cookout, definitely. You got to get Jimmy Seafood, man. Look, you come to Baltimore, go to Jimmy's, go there with Nash, go there with me. You get in the chicken box in Baltimore. Not sure if you had one before. You know what? Do you know what the chicken box is?
Chicken box? No,
Yes, the
I'm
chicken box.
down. I'm not that down. What's up?
Okay, so you only can get a chicken box in Baltimore City. A chicken box, you get it in the hood. You have a box. You get 4 or 5 piece of fried chicken wings, not legs, wings.
Mm-hmm.
4 to 5 piece fried chicken wings, and you get fries in the same box. And most of the times they're just regular, shoestring or regular French fries. Sometimes they'll do the crinkle cut, never curly. It's always going to be this regular cut French fries, maybe crinkle, and over top of it, and we say it quick: salt, pepper, ketchup, hot sauce. Salt, pepper, ketchup, hot sauce, dribbled
Mm.
on top. You eat it like that. Now,
I would fuck that up right now. I'm so hungry right now. I have not eaten yet today. That's why your friend thinks I'm too thin.
so yes, that's the chicken. But now you can make one at home if you want. That's cool. But here to get it from the hood in Baltimore City, chicken box, 4 or 5 piece, salt, pepper, ketchup, hot sauce, chicken box fries, and you can add Old Bay if you want on top. And then to drink with it, you get either a half and half, which is what people in other areas call Arnold Palmer. That's half sweet tea, that is super sweet, half lemonade, or you get a 3-in-1. A 3-in-1 is iced tea, lemonade, free punch.
Oh. I would try the 3-in-1.
Get 3-in-1, get chicken box. There you
I
go.
would try. Here's what I would do. What's the name of the joint? Where would I go? Give me the most hood fucking place that I can
Uh,
go for my chicken box.
Different areas. I'm down the street from the village, Emerson Village, so you can go to Kimmy's. You can
Kenny's?
go to Kimmy's. Yup, Kimmy's. You can go to Brian's Kitchen. Um, I think Royals burnt down because half of the village got hit with the Hangman Page burning shit down. Hangman Page hit the village up before he hit Spurs' house twice. So some of that area is burnt.
So I'm
So
going to Kenny's. I'm getting the box. I'm getting the chicken box with
yep.
salt, pepper, ketchup, hot sauce. I'm going to do the 3-in-1.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to sit down with the locals. I'm going to let them give me their investment advice. I'd like to know if they're stock heavy or bond heavy right now in the market currently. There's a lot going on. And That I'm going to spend my day there in Baltimore. Deal?
Yeah, but I guarantee you, if you talk about that them stacks and bond shit, when you out there like eating right there with them, they're gonna look at you crazy like, what you talking about?
Exactly. That's
Oh,
that's
and
that's
by the
what,
way,
that's what I mean. That's my goal.
and the weed man is gonna say, yo, you good? So if they come to you and they were like, yo, you good? I'm yeah, I'm good. And they were like, hey Sean, what's up? You good? The first you good mean are you okay? The second one is yo, you good? That means like you want weed,
I'm
you want
set.
some?
I'll be like,
I
no, I'm
got
set.
yeah. So that's just the street, and I'm not born in the streets. I'm not from the streets, but I was born around the streets. Know people like it, and if you like weed, Sean, I got you. I'll hook you up. Some weed, maybe smoke.
Well, this has been an education, I think, for all of the Kayfabe Commentaries fans.
And you
Uh,
need to eat before you pass out of malnourishment. And Mrs. Oliver is not beating my ass to coming from me because she's creative. She's probably gonna send a
she's
whole
at
group of
rehearsal. She's
dancers.
at rehearsal where she.
But she probably gonna send a whole group of dancers like the Colombians and Scarface to my house and we dancing in my house again. Nope, I'm good. I want that smoke. But Sean, thanks much for your time. This has been a lengthy, very amazing interview. We talked about everything, talked about sex, talked about different positions, talked about adding batteries, having fun. How long would your sexcapade be with Tony Khan as opposed to WWE? Nash being the king of anthologies. Sean talked us about his film background, what he loves about Kayfabe commentaries, how his corkscrew has been loved and charged on by Greg Valentine. Please check him out on Kayfabe Commentary still, which is up and running. You can check him out on Kliq This on YouTube. Kliq as in Kliq This. Gotta spell it out for the people so they know. Please check him out for everything. Follow when he posts every Monday. I know Monday I get the notifications when you do the
Yeah, Monday, every Monday.
every Monday. Check him out on Patreon. And thanks, Miss Sean, for your time. It's been amazing. Thank you for the extra time. Post this with your, you do your own edits of what you need. We'll do ours, and I appreciate you, brother. And I'll be texting you, probably in a
All right,
couple.
Evan. Thank you very
Thanks,
much. I talk soon.
thanks, man. Okay, thanks.